Well, right now it is time for our sustainable soy update. For the next several weeks, you can tune into AOA as we talk about all things sustainable soy and the work going on with the United Soybean Board, your soy checkoff. And today we're talking about the recent news surrounding the Land Use Change Initiative, the Lucy as it is referred to. Here for a conversation with us, pleased to have Jack Cornell, Director of Sustainable Supply at the United Soybean Board, joining us here for our sustainable soy update. Jack, good to talk with you again. How are you?
Yeah, super excited to be here.
Let's start this off, Jack. What led to the creation of the Land Use Change Initiative? Why did farmers need to build their own table, so to speak, in discussions on land use change?
Yeah, we started seeing a lot of people represent U.S. agriculture and farming, and because they were looking at geospatial and modeling, right? And so they were trying to try to figure out what is actually happening on the ground. And what we found is that people were actually misrepresenting what was happening on the ground. And, based off of how these geospatial models work, what is pasture ground or CRP land, or what is a grassland? And so it got super confusing. And what we found is it was starting to affect markets, our marketability internationally within this confusion in the space, because basically we weren't in the discussion. We were just being dictated to what land use change was, right? And so it was time for us to kind of step up and be like, okay, we need to address this issue.
Well, how is Lucy addressing some of the challenges of inconsistent definitions, metrics for land use change you're kind of alluding to there? And why is this so important for the agricultural sector?
Yeah. So what we were like, okay, so how do we build this thing out? And so what we did was we gathered the best geospatial scientists in the United States, coming from academic communities, but then also the NGO world, right? We even have some notables from NASA helping us on this project. And so we wanted to really build out a collaborative research project where it's not one-sided. There's everybody's kind of there can kind of chime in and really kind of think about how can we formulate and move this space in a positive, productive way for U.S. agriculture. And so that was really kind of the big takeaway is how do we make this big and robust so that way create almost like a mainstream avenue, right, for how people talk about land use change instead of kind of all these different methodologies. Because realistically, we're moving in an age where anybody can get a USDA public available data set, and anybody can access geospatial technology and create their own model, right? And so the space is just going to get more robust and more messy as time goes on. And so, how do we take the reins on this, kind of create some sort of commonalities within the space to really help farmers showcase their stewardship that happens on the ground?
Well, Jack, let's put a little focus on soybean farmers in particular and talk about, what is soybean farmers' role in Lucy and how sustainable farming practices are helping preserve farmland and natural ecosystems.
So, you think about the most valuable thing on a farm is the soil, right? And the ground that they grow their commodities and raise their families on. And so what the Lucy Initiative is hopefully doing is providing some of those pathways for international marketability, so that way farmers can stay productive and profitable at the same time. And so really so for farmers, it's really just continue to freedom to operate, right? And so this is really hoping to increase their marketability internationally, but also kind of continue to give them the freedom to operate, because then we can utilize this information to showcase the stewardship that is happening on the ground. And we really want to, and then the other thing is probably break down some of these barriers that have been built that would, stifle some of the farmers' innovative, creative ideas about how they utilize land, but also prevent future barriers for building, where it would prevent farmers from being innovative.
What are some of the most significant long-term changes you see farmers making to protect land resources while remaining competitive in the global picture, Jack?
Well, so, I don't know if there's a specific thing that you can point to. But if you look throughout history, right, 30, 40 years ago, we've tripled the amount of production of soybeans while utilizing less resources. And we kind of continue that evolve of these land stewardship activities, these innovations on the ground. And so really, from a farmer's perspective, is how the commodity organization, the soy checkoff, is helping you, is really kind of, providing that fertile ground for you to be the manager of your land, right? To continue that stewardship, because, there's no one way to do it. And the people on the ground know the best way to manage their land, right? They have that inherent generational approach to their farm, right? They want to continue to have their family investing in that farm, pass it down to the next generation. And there's no corporate entity that's going to have that same tie to the land. And we want to make sure the farmers that are on the ground have that ability to continue to make those investments and make those changes that they deem fit. And I think over time, it's going to highlight, and showcase our productive nature, right? We've shown this evidence over the last 30, 40 years. And I think we need to continue to do that.
Well, and I think a lot of this work going on with land use change modeling and Lucy, the land use change initiative, can really give U.S. farmers and soybean farmers an edge. And I know folks can learn more on the Land Use Change Initiative webpage. We will post that link up on our website, social media, and with the podcast of this week's Sustainable Soy Update. We are up against the clock, though. With that, Jack Cornell, Director of Sustainable Supply at the United Soybean Board, thanks for telling us more about the Land Use Change Initiative and being with us on this week's Sustainable Soy Update.
All right. Thank you.